What do you get when you mix action, adventure, platforming, tower defense, a solid soundtrack, and a gorgeous art style, plus a 2-player co-op option? You get Aegis Defenders. Hey guys, Dace here of Stonebeak Productions, and today we're going to be looking at this wonderful work of art developed by Guts Department and published by Humble Bundle. I honestly don't have much experience with tower defense games, though this really caught my attention. The art style alone sucked me in immediately, and I very quickly found myself becoming more and more intrigued by the rich, myriad layers this game offers and the beautiful world those layers are expressed within. Our story begins in Crater Forest, with a young woman by the name of Clue and her grandfather Bart, two ruin hunters seeking relics of the distant past, more or less so they can afford their next meal. One afternoon, while exploring some ruins, they stumble upon Kobo, a small robot that activates and mentions something about an important objective of his. Shortly thereafter, they discover the Aegis, a long-forgotten mechanical weapon of awesome power, and it's from this moment that Clue and Bart are plunged into a journey of non-stop excitement, action, and intrigue, as they struggle to prevent the Aegis from falling into the clutches of an evil empire. Along the way, we meet and befriend Kaim, the monk, and Zula, the thief. The setting and plot are both fantastic, and I thoroughly enjoyed seeing each twist and turn as the story unfolded. Visually speaking, Aegis Defenders has a fine balance between dark and light. Some levels are bright and cheerful mountain trails brimming with fresh forest air and a cool breeze in your hood, while others are dark, damp, and deadly every step of the way. With many unique details to pick out and backgrounds tugging at my imagination, I couldn't help but lap up every moment of my journey in this game. Each character in your party has their own unique weapons and abilities. Clue uses the rifle and bow, which are ideal for picking off enemies at a distance long before they're close enough to harm you, and she has this sweet dash and triple shot for speedy dodge countering. She can also drop bombs, build traps, you name it. Bart has the hammer, which can not only repair damaged devices, but can also be used to break the defensive stone masks that some of the larger enemies wear, and he's got the shovel, which can harvest a resource in a single swipe. Compare this to every other weapon in the game taking 3 hits to harvest a resource, and you soon realize that Bart is the man for the job when things are getting crazy. Kaim can absorb resources from a distance, and he uses 2 wands, one to conjure fireballs and the other a magic purple energy. Last but not least, we've got Zula, who's got a returning shuriken and spiked explosives that she can hurl towards enemies. She can also do an air dash, which really comes in handy at times when making it over certain gaps, or even when you just want to skip over monsters. Each character also represents a color in which you use to gauge how strong they will be against colored enemies. So for instance, Clue is blue and is the strongest when dealing with blue monsters. Bart is yellow, Kaim red, and Zula purple. In addition to this, 2 characters can build more powerful devices by combining their resources into a single unit. For example, Clue can use 1 bomb and Bart can use a defense block in order to create a tri-shot turret, much more powerful than the basic auto turret. There are a ton of awesome combinations to unlock and unleash upon the waves that will certainly be testing you along the way. You get all these awesome things and more at the Caravan. This is the place you'll return to after every completed mission. It's the place where everyone winds down for the night with slow jazz. You can relax by the fire, look up at the stars in the sky, and just chat with the others. Everybody's easy here. If you're looking to upgrade, you can buy new devices at Bart's Forge or peruse the weapons selection at Amber's scrap shop. Talk to Kaim if you want more hearts, and Zula or Kobo if you want to save your progress. There's also a guy by the name of Nick who swings around once in a while. He'll try ripping you off most of the time, but he's got good stuff. You may also meet some familiar faces like Shovel Knight, Lunays, and Durple Zork. Each one of these special guests will require assistance and open up a side quest level which, after completing, there's no returning to, as far as I know. So be sure to clean up when you're there. The combat phase is always a thrill. After platforming your way through each level, you'll come to a setting where the battle begins. There is typically a central structure or person to protect from the waves of enemies. Sometimes there will be multiple things or people to protect, and it can get pretty out of hand. You begin with a build phase in which you have 60 seconds to collect resources, explore your surroundings, and begin to establish your traps, turrets, and everything else. You can choose to skip the build phase for a bonus. After this phase comes the enemy phase, in which the enemies begin pouring out of tunnels from one direction or more, each wave becoming more intense as the battle rages on. I've had some really crazy battles where things were down to the wire. Monsters or soldiers were flooding in from every direction, and you couldn't afford to stop and think for even a second. Then the build phase hits, and you might think it's a time to catch your breath, but honestly, those can be just as much of a scramble as you're racing around picking up resources, making repairs, and prepping for the next wave of enemies. It's awesome. The controls are tight and intuitive. Anyone can be playing this mere seconds after picking it up, and that's a huge plus. The gameplay is nice and neat. Everything is laid out to be fast and efficient, which is really important when the pressure is on. You're going up against wave after wave of enemies, and you don't want to be slowed down with 20 menus and clunky game mechanics. The sound effects are crisp, clear, and I loved hearing things like Bart's hammer as he made repairs, or Clue's rifle firing non-stop amidst the chaos. The clink of collecting diamonds, or even just the sound when switching characters, all solid choices. The music in Aegis Defenders is immersive and fits perfectly with each part of the game. I was hooked from the moment I heard the track playing during the title screen. The slow jazz of the Caravan is another personal favorite and really gives you a sense of calm. The levels have a rich blend as well, which lend themselves to this feeling of being out on your own exploring the wilderness. The build phase nails it with this uneasy, foreboding composition, and the enemy phase complements it beautifully with its tense highs and frantic pace. All in all, Aegis Defenders is an absolute blast. I love the mix of elements that went into it, and I'll easily be playing this game for years to come. Anyway, that's going to wrap this up, guys. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That would be super appreciated, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you next time.